My house cleaner's scared voice broke into our nice dinner talk like a sharp surprise. Mrs. Thompson, there's a big truck outside your house, and a lady downstairs with keys. I let my fork drop so loud it banged on Alex's plate. The noise bounced around his dining room like a big boom. My 38-year-old son and his wife Lisa looked at me all puzzled, but I already knew who was brave enough to sneak into my home. Amanda, my own daughter. 6 months back, I'd found out Amanda's plan to say I was not able to think right and take my money and stuff. My lawyer's son, Alex, had helped me stop her fake doctor checks and her try to take control of me fast. But this was way bigger than I ever thought, even from her. Maria, get out of there now, I yelled into the phone, my voice strong and surprising even to me. Lock the door and go right away. Maria had come back to get her glasses she left behind, a thing she always does that maybe just saved my house from being robbed clean. Alex was already picking up his car keys, his face getting mad to protect me. Bomb. What's going on? Your sister is trying to move into my house, I said, my voice super calm even though I was so angry inside. The nerve of it was huge. Really? Really? Amanda had always thought she deserved everything, but sneaking in like this was a whole new bad level. As we drove fast through the night traffic, I thought about how we got to this point. Brian had been doing yard jobs for me all summer. Amanda's idea, to help Mom and make some extra cash. That guy must have copied my keys back then, planning this sneak-in for months. The answer was easy. Brian. Ever since Amanda married that pushy guy who wasn't doing well, 6 months ago, she'd changed. Their money problems started when Brian lost his job in April. But instead of asking for help, they picked bad ways over talking to family. There, Alex pointed up ahead, his hands tight on the wheel. Police cars. I'd called 911 from the car, saying someone was robbing my home. What I didn't say was that the robber was my own daughter. That fun fact was gonna make this night way more wild than the cops thought. Big truck was parked in my round driveway, like it was supposed to be there, its back doors open wide, showing my own chairs and tables piled inside. My dish shelf, my grandma's rocking seat, the picture of my husband who passed away that was in the front hall. 2 cops stood on my front steps, looking mixed up as they talked to a lady whose voice I knew even from far away. Amanda's voice, all sure and like she owned the place, telling the cops this was just a family mix-up. Well, she was about to learn a family lesson she'd never forget. The look on Amanda's face when she saw me walking up my own driveway with 2 more cops was worth all the nights I couldn't sleep because of her over the past 6 months. Her sure smile slipped for a second before coming back. At 35, my daughter had gotten really good at looking not guilty while doing selfish stuff on purpose. Today's act was just like that, Mom, she called out, waving like I'd just come back from a fun store trip. Perfect timing. We were just moving in. Officer Ramirez, a serious lady in her 40s, looked between Amanda and me, getting more confused. Bafta, this lady says she's your daughter and has okay to be here. My daughter. Yes, okay. I took out my keys, my voice steady, even though I wanted to yell. No way. Brian showed up in my doorway, holding a box marked Sophie's room, looking like he wished he was somewhere else. Behind him, I could see my 8-year-old grandson, Jake, peeking around the corner, holding a stuffed animal. Seeing those kids in my home, all mixed up and not knowing, made my heart hurt. This wasn't their fault. Officer Ramirez stepped up with her job voice. Ma'am, we need to check this out fully before any arrests. Can you show this is your house? I gave her my driver's card and house paper, both with my name and this address. Meanwhile, Amanda was whispering fast to Brian, her cool finally breaking a bit. Mrs. Thompson, Officer Lee started taking pictures of everything. Can you tell how your daughter got keys to your home? Brian did yard work for me this summer, I said, watching Brian's face turn white. Amanda said it would help them with money and help me keep the yard nice. He must have copied the keys then. Brian moved around, uneasy, not looking at anyone. Amanda gave him a mean look before turning back to the cops with more worry. The thing is, Amanda said loud, stopping her whispers. My husband lost his job in April, and we got kicked out of our place last month. As my mom's only daughter, I have a right to get help in a tough time. A right? She really said right to talk about taking my home. You have a right to ask for help, I said slow, enjoying each word. You don't have a right to just take it. Officer Ramirez called for more help while Officer Lee kept taking notes. The proof was super clear, but I could see they wanted to be careful with this family stuff. Amanda, Officer Ramirez, said strong. Do you have any papers saying your mom said yes to come in, or take these things? The quiet went on long enough to feel weird before Amanda finally said the truth. We don't need paper, okay? Amanda said, her voice getting that whiny sound I didn't like. This is just a family fight. My mom is 65 and sometimes forgets things we planned. The idea that I couldn't think right made me feel cold inside. This was just the story she'd been making for months, setting up stuff that Alex and I had already stopped with legal ways. Officer Ramirez, I said calm. 6 months ago, my daughter tried to say I couldn't think right with fake ways. My son Alex, who's a lawyer, helped me get papers to protect against more tries. This sneak-in is probably part of that bad plan that didn't work. Officer Lee looked up from his notes with more interest. Do you have copies of those legal papers? Alex, who had been watching quiet, stepped up with his bag. I have it all here. No contact orders, stopped doctor checks, and turned down control requests. Amanda's face turned pale as Alex put the papers on his car hood. The cops looked at them close while Amanda tried to fix things. Those are she said weak. I was just trying to help my mom with her stuff. By taking her house. Officer Ramirez asked dry. The extra cops came as Amanda's story fell apart totally. One cop talked to the truck guys who said they'd been paid by Amanda Smith to move things from her mom's house to a storage place. Ma, single quotes M. The main cop talked to me straight. From the proof, we can arrest for sneaking in, stealing, and planning bad stuff. But since kids are here, we want to do this gentle. Through my window, I could see Sophie and Jake watching with scared faces against the glass. My heart hurt for them. Whatever Amanda and Brian did wrong, these kids didn't do anything. Officer, I want to do full charges. I said strong, but I also want short-time care of my grandkids. They don't deserve to hurt from their parents bad. Amanda's cool broke all the way. You can't take my kids. This is just a family argument. Being someone's daughter doesn't let you rob them. Officer Lee said plain, as he got his handcuffs ready. The arrest took another hour. Amanda yelled about family being true and how I should help my own kids, while Brian gave up quiet, his shoulders down low, as the cop cars drove off with my daughter and her husband inside. I felt like I was right, not sad. The world was finally seeing what I'd known for months. Amanda had gone too far. Alex came to me soft. Mom, are you sure about taking the kids? This could be for a long time. I looked at Jake and Sophie, now holding each other in my doorway, and knew what to do. The fast court thing the next morning was full of workers, kid helpers, and serious people trying to fix the mess Amanda and Brian made. Mrs. Thompson, Judge Wilson talked to me straight. Are you ready to give short-time care for these kids while their parents deal with charges? Yes, Your Honor. They're my grandkids and they need a steady place. Linda Johnson from Kid Services had checked my house, quick at 6 a.m., saying it was good for kids. The other choice, strangers' care, was no way. Jake and Sophie sat quiet in the seats with Lisa, holding drink boxes and looking shook up. They'd stayed at Alex's house last night while I got rooms ready and thought about how big this was. Amanda's free lawyer, a tired guy who got a bad job, asked for no jail and give kids back to mom right away. Your Honor, my client was going to be without a home with 2 little kids. Her acts, though wrong, came from being super worried. Brian's lawyer did different, blaming Amanda hard. Your Honor, my client was pushed by his wife into this plan. He's ready to talk against Mrs. Smith for a better deal. Judge Wilson listened with doubt, then looked at the proof Alex put together. The way of trying fake stuff, copying keys wrong, and planning the sneak-in showed a clear bad picture. Short-time care to the grandma. She decided, quick. Both parents stay locked up until trial. Visits only with watchers after doing court talks. As we left the court, Amanda's cries bounced in the hall, but for the first time in months, I felt calm instead of bad about her upset grandma. Jake's little voice stopped my thoughts as we went to my car. Are we gonna live with you now? For a bit, sweetie, until things get fixed. Sophie, always smarter than her 8-year-old brother, asked the tough one. Are mommy and daddy coming home? I buckled them into seats I put in that morning, picking words careful. Your parents made some really bad picks, and they have to deal with results, but you're safe with me. What I didn't say was their parents faced big bad charges that could mean years locked up. These kids might be with me for a long time. Driving home to our home now, I saw Amanda's worried bet had gone wrong in a funny way. Instead of getting my money, she'd given me something way better, a new shot at being a mom, done better this time. 2 weeks into our new setup, I found something that surprised me. I was actually good at being a full-time grandma, not the kind who visits and gives candy, then sends them home wild, but the real kind who makes lunches, helps with schoolwork, and knows the right voice when Jake tries to talk out of brushing teeth. "Grandma, why did Mommy take your things?" Sophie asked one morning over breakfast, her spoon making little swirls in her food. The question I'd been scared of had come. How do you tell a 10-year-old her mom is a smart, bad person without breaking her whole view? Sometimes adults make really bad picks when they're afraid. I said, "Careful. Your mommy was afraid of no home." But instead of asking for help, she took what wasn't hers. Jake looked up from his bread, like when Sophie took my toy cards, kinda like that, but way more serious because adults know better. The example seemed okay for him, but Sophie's face showed she got way more than she said. I was learning, are super good at seeing adult mess -ups. My phone rang with a call from Detective Smith, different Smith, good thing, who had news on the case. "Mrs. Thompson, we've found more proof that makes this case way bigger. Can you come to the station this afternoon?" The proof was papers, showing Amanda's plan was way deeper than just sneaking in. She'd been planning to take my stuff for over 18 months, looking up laws on not thinking right, talking to bad lawyers, and even trying to see my doctor papers to say I had memory loss. She sent first papers for fast control 3 weeks before the sneak-in, Detective Smith said, pushing papers over his desk. If you hadn't done charges, she would have used it to say you couldn't live alone. The smart way of it all made me gasp. This wasn't worry or bad thinking. This was planned, money hurt, with my own grandkids as helpers without knowing. There's more. Detective Smith went on serious. We found she was watching your money accounts in wrong ways. Your bank is checking inside. I drove home in a fog, trying to get how big Amanda's backstab was. When I got to my driveway, Sophie and Jake were at the window, faces pushed like happy dogs. "Grandma, we made you a card," Jake said, running with a paper thing full of sparkles and color drawings. "Welcome home, Grandma," was written in Sophie's nice writing, with Jake's name in purple below. Looking at their sweet faces, I got the truth. Amanda's biggest wrong wasn't trying to take my money, it was almost wrecking these kids' lives too. The trial started on a cold Tuesday in November, 4 months after the sneak-in. The courtroom was full of newspeople pulled by the wild title, "Grandma has own daughter locked up for home sneak-in." Amanda had let go her free lawyer and got Karen Lee, a good crime lawyer who believed in owning up over tricks. It was the first smart pick she'd made in years. "Your Honor," Lawyer Lee said to the court at the start, "my client takes all blame for what she did. She made awful picks from money worry, but she's ready to face results and fix things." The other side showed a story of planned hurt to an older person that made me uncomfortable. While true, hearing my family's mess talked about for everyone felt like being without clothes in front of new people. When they called me to talk, I went up with shaky hands and said the truth about years of tricks, threats to say I couldn't think, and the home sneak-in. But I also talked about the granddaughter who used to make me birthday cards, and the little girl who thought bad things couldn't get her if Mommy was there. "Mrs. Thompson," the asker said, "in your view, was your daughter's acts planned or quick?" I looked at Amanda, sitting there with tears down her face, and knew the answer. "Both," I said soft. "She planned how to use me, but she quick-wrecked everything important to Brian had already taken a deal, getting 2 years no jail for talking against Amanda. Backstab seemed to break her during his talk. She looked at him with empty eyes like someone who saw she'd married a weak guy. The group thought for 6 hours before saying guilty, on all big charges, sneaking in, stealing, planning, and trying money hurt on older person. Judge Wilson gave Amanda 4 years locked up with chance out in 2 years. She also said paid back for my taken stuff and must do talks for both parents. As the helper took Amanda away in cuffs, she looked back at me. "One last time. Take care of my babies," she whispered. "I will," I said, and meant it. But what I didn't think was how caring for them would fix something hurt in me too. 18 months later, I stood in my kitchen watching Jake sort his food by color, while Sophie played music in the next room. The sound should have bugged me. It would have bugged the old me, but now it was the music of our calm life. "Grandma, Do I have to keep going to talks? Sophie asked at breakfast, putting down her music thing with big drama. The court said both kids must do talks to help deal with parents' arrest and leaving, a good rule that helped a lot. Do you think you still need it? I asked, getting my drink. Maybe. Sometimes I still get mad at mommy for being so dumb. The straight truth from kids always surprised me. Sophie had dealt with her mom's wrongs with clear thinking, while Jake, younger, got used to our days with kid bounce back. My phone buzzed with a call I'd waited for but worried about. Amanda. Got early out and wanted to see the kids. Mrs. Thompson. This is Amanda's outwatcher. She's done the needed classes and okay for watched visits. My first thought was no. We'd made a great life. Sophie was doing great in hard classes. Jake joined kid sports and I found raising kids at 67 was easier than at 30. I had calm now, big view, and money to give them chances I couldn't give my own kids. But I also remembered the hurt woman in court, finally owning her picks. What are the rules? I asked. The meet was at the family court place with strict watching. Amanda looked changed, better somehow, even after lockup. She'd got more weight, her hair was tidy, and her eyes had something I hadn't seen in years. Real being humble. Hi, babies, she said, soft as Sophie and Jake came close. Careful. Hi, Mommy, Sophie whispered, but she stayed by me. Jake, now 10 and taller, seemed to hardly remember her. Are you coming home now? Amanda's face fell. No, sweetie, I can't come home. I did something very wrong, and I'm still paying. For an hour, we sat in that plain room while Amanda said sorry to her kids, told about her acts in kiddiesy words, and promised to be better. The kids were nice, but far, treating her like a nice new person, not their mom. They don't really know me anymore, Amanda said, quiet as we went to the cars. That's what happens when you leave kids, I said, not mean, but true. I know I deserve this. She stopped. Hard to say words. Mom, I did 18 months of talks, learning to own up. I was hooked on pain pills after my car crash 3 years ago, and instead of help, I got super worried. Everything I did to you, to the kids, came from that worry and hooked up. This was the first I heard about being hooked, but it made sense of her wild ways over years. 6 months after that first watched visit, Amanda earned weekly meets at a family spot in town. She'd done hook treatment, got a job at a help group for women who were locked up before, and lived in a small place with a roommate who kept her on track. The change was big, but easy to break. Sophie, now 12 and superguarding Jake, still looked at her mom with tired eyes. Trust broken so bad might never come back full, but respect was building slow. Mom saved our family, Jake said one Saturday as Amanda helped him with the school thing about local good people. She could have let us go to stranger care, but she didn't. I looked at Amanda, who was calm, helping him stick wood into a bridge shape, and saw water in her eyes. Your grandma did save you, Amanda said quiet, and she saved me too, even though I didn't deserve it. That night, after Amanda went back to her place, Jake asked the question I'd waited for. Is Mommy ever gonna live with us again? No, sweetie. This is your home now, but Mommy can visit, and maybe someday you can visit her place too. Sophie, smart for her age, nodded serious. I think that's better anyway. Mommy needs to learn to care for herself, before us. The smart words were sad and right. Amanda was doing real better, but she'd lost main care from her own pics. The kids got this without saying it. My phone buzzed with a message from Alex. Mom, Lisa and I have news. We're having a baby. Think you can handle being grandma to 3 kids? I laughed loud at how silly. 4 years ago, I'd been a lone widow whose daughter planned to take her money. Now I was raising 2 almost teens, fixing ties with their changed mom, and about to be grandma again. Life, I'd learned, has a weird joke about new chances. What's funny, Grandma? Jake asked, looking from his schoolwork. Just thinking how much our family grew, I said, messing his hair, and it was true. We'd lost the bad side of Amanda, but got these great kids, and a chance for all to fix. Some families have to break all the way. Before building stronger. The day Amanda got okay for visits without watchers, exactly 2 years after arrest, she sat in my living room, the same room where I'd found her telling truck guys to take my stuff, and told me her changed story. There was this woman in lockup named Lisa. Amanda started, her voice steady but low. She was in for taking money from her old parents. One day she got a letter saying her dad died and she couldn't go to the goodbye because she was still in for taking from him. Sophie and Jake were at school so we could talk open about hard results. She fell apart totally. Amanda went on, started yelling about how she'd wrecked everything important for money she'd already used. And I was looking at me 5 years later. If I didn't change. It was the thing I'd waited to hear. The spark that changed my tricky daughter into someone who could own up real. I called you that night, but you'd changed your number, so I wrote you a letter. To 7 pages of sorry and why that I never sent because I saw words weren't enough. I had to show change with acts. I remembered getting some letters through Alex's work. All I threw away without opening. Maybe I should have read them. The thing is, Mom, I spent years jealous of your free ways and strength that I tried to wreck you instead of learning from you. Even after Dad died, you had this nice way, this skill to rebuild life. I felt like a loser next to you. So you picked to pull me down instead of building you up. Exactly. And the pills made it worse. They made me scared, worried, ready to hurt people I loved. I told myself you owed me because I was your daughter. We sat in easy quiet for a bit. Two women who'd lived through a fight that almost wrecked our whole family. What do you want now? I asked at last. I want to earn being in my kids' lives. Not as main parent. I lost that from my pics. But as someone they can look up to and maybe trust later. And I want to fix with you, if you let me. Looking at this humble, clear version of my daughter, I got something deep. I didn't need Amanda's fixes for my own better, but maybe she needed to give them to finish hers. You can't undo what you did, I said soft, but you can show you've learned. She nodded, taking the line without fight, progress. 2 years after that talk, I stood in my kitchen watching Amanda help 13-year-old Sophie with number work while 12-year-old Jake played with his baby cousin in the living room. Alex and Lisa's daughter had been born 6 months ago, and our Sunday family meals had become fun, messy times. I still don't get why X is 7, Sophie said, rubbing out her work for the 3rd time. Think of it like a scale. Amanda said calm. If you do the same to both sides, it stays even. Watching them together, I felt mixed feelings. Proud of Sophie's smart school, happy with Amanda's real try to help, not push, and deep happy in the steady life we'd built from bad times. The news buzz had been big for about 6 months after trial. Rich grandma locks up own daughter was big news fun. But I'd gotta help her to guard the kids private and keep news people from schools. Soon, news stories took over. Amanda would never live in my house again. That line was forever and no talk. But she'd earned to be part of her kids' lives. And more key, she'd become someone good for that. Grandma, Jake called from the living room. Can Amanda come to my sports game next Saturday? I looked at Amanda, who tried not to look too hopeful. These small steps, being in normal family stuff, meant all to her getting better. If she wants to, I said easy. The smile on Amanda's face was bright and real. 2 years of steady talks, and owning up had earned her this simple thing, watching her son play sports. My phone buzzed with a message from Sophie's teacher. Sophie picked for Smart Programs Contest Team. Good job. I showed it to Sophie, who made a happy sound before asking right away, Can Mommy come to the contest? If she can get off work, I said, watching Amanda's eyes get wet with thanks. These kids were doing great in ways I never thought. Steady, place, clear lines, and always love had changed them from hurt kids to sure, safe young ones. Thank you, Amanda said, quiet as she got her stuff to go. She never stayed too long, never pushed lines, always honored our setup. For what? For saving my kids, for giving me chance to earn back into their lives, for showing what real strong is. As I watched her drive to her small place, I thought on the odd path that got us here. 4 years ago, I'd been a weak widow whose daughter planned to take her free life. Now, I was the strong head of a fixing family, sure in my value and safe in my picks. This morning, as I write this last part, I'm on my back porch watching Sophie teach her baby cousin to clap while Jake throws balls in the yard. Amanda is inside making food for our outside meal. And Alex is setting up games his wife asked for their daughter's first birthday fun. At 71, I'm busier than in years, but also more full. These kids, all ages of them, have given me reason I never thought I'd find. My phone buzzes with a video call from my newest family, Mark, Alex's work friend, who who married Amanda's old roommate from the halfway place 6 months ago. Our family links have got fun mixed as we've all learned to fix and grow together. Martha, he calls from the screen, ready for the birthday mess. I laugh, looking at the nice mess that's my normal now. Bring it on. Amanda comes to my side with food plate. Mom, thanks for letting me be in this. 4 years ago, those words would have been tricks. Today, it's simple thanks from a woman who's learned earning love over asking for it. You earned it, I say, and she nods with quiet, happy, as the family comes. For our fun, I think about the letter I'll write to other grandmas in same spots. The letter that will say it's okay to love without letting bad, to set lines without leaving family, and to find strong in saying no, to hurt that hits all. Amanda's biggest wrong wasn't trying to take my money or home. It was almost stopping me from finding who I was meant to be, the woman who picked love over mad, lines over get back, and fixing over always being hurt. The woman who learned the best love is not joining someone's wreck. The woman who got that her value isn't from being useful to others, but from guarding what matters most. Today, watching my family laugh and play in the yard of the house Amanda once tried to take, I know who that woman is. She's me, stronger, smarter, and around people who honor her because she first honored herself. And that, dear friends, is the best thing I could ever pass on.